This is sharp. It's little Satan and little Satan. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Staying beautiful. Well, we just thought we'd throw together a video showing you guys what tools we generally use for the project, making the figurines, and what we prefer to use, and general idea of that. Alrighty, first of all guys, we couldn't really get anywhere without our trusty X-Acto knife, sharp as a scalpel. Now, we never really are too particular on exactly what X-Acto knives we use or what blades. Any of them will work. I believe it's just X-Acto. Now, I do have a preference, and that's just my preference just because of the fact it cuts through anything. And that's they have a specific brand of Zubik zirconium blades. So the blades are gold and coated with diamonds. The gold, I believe, is just a paint texture or tone, but it's coated with diamonds. Oh, I can tell you they cut through anything. The first time I picked it up, it cut right through the case. As soon as I touched through the top, right through here, it pierced right through my finger. Matter of fact, I have a very funny story about this scar right along here, and also on top of my right kneecap. They actually happened at the same time. It's actually a funny story. Tell it some other time, not right now. Usually use the scalpels and the X-Acto knives, same exact thing, to cut through the plastic, trim off, cut off any other extra little areas or whatnot, separate pieces. Use them for anything, very basic, man. So I like using my X-Acto knife almost for everything. I'm sure there's better ways I can do it, safer ways to do it, but I like using my X-Acto knife with that. As you can see, so does little Satan before we beheaded him right there. He's a big fan of that. So, but next up, couldn't be anywhere without, believe it or not, hot glue. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of customizers out there who prefer not to use hot glue because of how messy it is or whatnot. I prefer to use it on the figurines because of the fact, the usage of it, especially when it comes down to low temperature. Don't mind my hot glue gun, it's a little dirty. Especially when it comes to a low temperature, because of the fact just you have so much mobility with it. I mean, let alone any hot glue you put down, you can use it to extend a piece's reach, extend any area. Matter of fact, it can just fill in gaps. I've used hot glue for so much to fit pieces in so much more sturdier. I mean, with some plastics, there is a downside because, you know, I'm not just gonna root on one thing. I will be devil's advocate on it, much like the X-Acto blade. You know, it's very dangerous to use, but I prefer to use it because it's going to get it done no matter what. It's going to cut through everything like it's going to. But the hot glue, you know, the pro sides to it, but the downside, some plastics don't work with it. I find that some of the figurines I make, some of the customs I make will be sitting on the shelf and will just randomly drop pieces off. So we will have to go back. Sometimes I actually like to mix super glue with my hot glue. Like I'll put the hot glue down or put the super glue down first. Either doesn't really matter, but you gotta do it very fast, especially to a low temp. And then they almost mix together, or even do the super glue over the hot glue. You will get a stronger mix. It's a very, almost becomes a rubber-like texture. So much harder, sturdier, lasts longer. If you do too much though, and there's any pockets, it will become oily and will not dry over time. You can find it even months later to go back and you peel a piece off and find out it's very oily and has not dried at all. It's BS, trust me. It's a pain to deal with. You just gotta clean it off and start all over again, but the area might still be oily. It's almost like the oil substance they use on the figurines themselves when they package them for the joints. But getting onto that, but I've also used high temp hot glue. Used to use that a lot. It's not, I don't recommend it. Honestly, if you're gonna do customizations, I recommend using a low temp no matter what. The high temp is just not gonna hold up for anything. Because the low temp you also can customize with and do decorations with that. We'll get into that in just a bit. You may be surprised to see this right here. This is a welding tool, or what they use, a wood carver, I believe, actually. They use it to brand wood, carve into it, do designs into it, whatnot. I like to actually use it for the plastic because, once again, much like the X-Acto knives, you know, it's very dangerous to use. But the wood carver, in much of the same exact ways, is very hot. It's gonna get the job done. Don't mind it's a little dirty. Like I said, it's heavily used. It's gonna get the job done no matter what. It's gonna melt that plastic. I use it to, when the area is not fitting right, to use just cut off hard plastic areas that we can't cut through, that the blades will break through, because you can see the blades will get dull. Like this one is very dull. We're still using it because we haven't actually been customizing in the last few days because of the YouTube running up and whatnot. I almost dropped that right there. But the wood carver is used for the heavy plastic. Any little fine areas, just like almost carving into the plastic or just whittling away some of the plastic. It's really perfect, especially when you get different tips. I actually have a design box not too far back over here. There's a few things back there, but it's got a bunch of different tips I use. But once again, pretty simple, man. I like to use one tip, just a carved one. Just go at it, does the job done. Simple. Last but not least, last for the project, you probably see back there, rhinestones. Now with that, that's not for every customization. That's more or less like for my personal project, because out of one of our storylines, we have, you know, a version of America almost, and a version of, you know, more Newport, Britain in a way. Newport's his name. And a version of Egypt. And those are their main continents, but each one of them in that story, they use crystals almost as energy, as power. You know, like in that universe, there have been so many souls, so many deaths. There's explanation for it. And there are so many souls in the air, more or less. It's been concentrated into a pure crystal. So those crystals are actually used as, oh my gosh. Don't mind that, everybody. So the energy crystal, the crystals are actually used as a power source, as a energy substance to power people, to gain machines. Certain devices that power off lasers or electronics will be powered off those crystals. And certain people can use them to power themselves up. And each continent has a different one. For America, we have this very basic diamond shape. The colors don't matter because of the fact that we usually painted. The bigger ones are also for America. Britain uses them too because they're actually in the same allegiance with America, so they kind of share items. And then we have these square ones here with more ridges in it and more designs. This one's actually for Newport for Britain. There's a triangle or more round oval one we have, but they've already been used. Then we also get these almost like these vortex ones right here. You can see they spiral almost reminiscent of an eyeball in a lot of ways. You can see that kind of like a kaleidoscope. Very trippy, very different colors, almost like a metal tint to it. Those are for Egypt, which is Anubis, you know. And America, I guess I should go ahead and mention it since we said the other names. That one's Valkyrie. So we have Valkyrie, we have Newport, and we have Anubis. And those are the major continents of one of the stories. And that's a very powerful, very huge story. Things are very amped there and more powerful, hence why there are energy crystals or soul gems or spirit gems, spirit crystals. We're still working on that to still decide which one it goes with, and each one knows them as something different and calls them something else. But that's the general tools. That's what we use. Like I said, once again, can't be anything without the X-Acto knife. I think that's the most important tool. If I had to be on the island, they were like, you're going to be able to only customize with coconuts, dirt, and whatnot. What tool can you have? Just bear with me, guys. I know. But what tool can you have? It's got to be an X-Acto knife. I mean, let alone as a survivor tool. But the scalpel, like, I couldn't do anything without that. Well, I guess that's like a chicken and an egg, because if you're going to cut things, how are you going to stick without the glue? Dun, dun, dun. Alright, well, we'll just pretend that decision never happened. Anyways, the X-Acto knife is one of the most important tools we're going to have. Like I said, I prefer the Zubit zirconium blades. I'm not sure if they were still doing that. There was a limited edition when I got it when I first bought them. I saw them a year ago, and I was like, oh man, I have to have them. I'm a sucker for that. Incredibly sharp and just diamond coated. I was a sucker for it, and I just went ahead and bought 5 packs. So I've had over like 30 of those blades. I'm running down my last 3, and I got that red kit right there with those X-Acto knives as a kit, as a Christmas gift. So I've been using those, and that's where this red handle comes from. That's actually originally supposed to be the screwdriver, but I was not a fan of the way it worked, and I had it turned into my X-Acto blade, more or less. But like I said, second important is the hot glue. We'll come up with why other reasons that's important in just a second. And finally, our whirler's tool and a personal touch is the rhinestones and gems. You guys be blown away how many of those little rhinestones we go through in gems. And there's more sizes, but we're currently out of them. They range very, very, very small. I'm talking like very minute, like that size at the max, guys. Like some of them are so small, even smaller than these little pearl ones you can see right there. Very, very small. Actually, as a matter of fact, I might have a little random. This is my work table, if you guys couldn't guess, but there's some random crystals over there. But that's a personal touch. That's for the story. That's just what we use for that, but we blow through those. So I count that as a tool, something we use, because almost every one of the projects may have one of those. There's a few storylines that don't have those at all, and neither do the customs or the figurines. Those also go on weapons all the time. It blows me away with the touch, because some people also won't go with that personally, just because of the fact, you automatically think rhinestones. I don't know. It just blows you away. You'd be amazed some of the weapons you guys will see with the crystals on there. It's unique. But with that, though, I wanted to transition to another thing you guys can do with low temp super glue that's pretty unique. One second. Alrighty, guys, we gotta get a little SATIN out here to demonstrate. As you can see down here, there are a few random super glue looking snot pieces. But what those actually are is about 4 years ago when we started this project, I wanted to see if we could make energy blast. And with that, we took plastic wrap, I believe, and some of it was plastic bags that did not have zip ties to them, right? As you can see, you can still see in there, still plasticky all in there. And you can even hear it when it crunches. Very plasticky. So with that, we laid it on a figurine's arm and then took low temp super glue and applied it all the way down. You can still see the ridges, and we formed it, pushed it together and kept it, hand formed it and kept doing different lines. This actually took an hour or two, really not because of the fact it's great or anything, because of the fact we really didn't know what we were doing. This is just an old version. I just wanted to give a demonstration of what else you could do. But what this is, the set would not fall apart, bear with me, guys. What this is right here, it goes in his hand, in his elbow. As you can see, your figurine now has this energy fiery punch that's just ravaging up his arm. It's just floating away. You just have this powerful energy blast. It's great for different poses. As we can see here, you can smash with it, you can hit with it. Almost Dragon Ball Z inspired in a lot of ways. Just a very powerful fiery blast. Looks great with little SATIN right here. Almost very demonic. Looks like he's charged up, ready to fight, ready to go. Now, as we can see with this one, guys, this one was still a work in progress. It has tentacles almost coming down from it. It's almost an extension of the hand. If I remember correctly, we were going to make an extended hot glue hand. It was going to be very claws and fangs almost like coming out of it. Very like a spectral werewolf demonish hand almost. Like you could just energy project a ghost hand, a demonic ghost hand out of it. And we haven't done the hand yet. That was just, like I said, these were works in progress a long, long time ago. But it could also work as just an energy blast coming from your hand, a spectral energy blast just forming away. Or if you wanted that to be tentacles, I remember that the hole was almost halfway through. If the hole was finished pushing through, it could be tentacles coming down. But like I said, this is just ideas of what you can do with low temp hot glue and almost. Alright, and finally for this one, the color on this one actually and this one, the reason it's not exactly hot glue is because they were partially painted or quick washed with certain colors. Like this one was red, blood red, and a sunset orange was hot washed or quick washed over it and then brushed off, so it was very fainted. We were going to go over a few more coats, but we didn't finish. But as you can see, this one's more of a fire-ish spectral blast. It works once again great with a little SATIN, very demonic. But it's supposed to work as a energy blast coming out, almost like a shield. That's why it's flat in the front, so it's almost like you're blasting but also blocking. You could be catching something or just purely charging up. Once again, you could use it for a ground decoration to be hitting the ground, coming out of someone's foot. We never finished them. These were just energy blasts we were working on. And like I said, this is just rough ideas of the things you can do with hot glue, especially low temp hot glue and plastics. That's how all of these were formed. Sorry, I can't talk today. And these ones, particularly in his hand, was also formed with twist ties that you would get from the grocery store or just buy a box of them. Or even twist wires that you get from any figurine. You put them in there, and I just wired it around the hand so it had general grasp or grip to grab onto in there to form around the hand, and then started building some plastic off of that, and then formed low temp hot glue off of that, and then even that piece right there is actually a twist tie up and then covered in hot glue. If we went close to the camera right now, you would actually be able to see that. You can see the white and red right there. Oh, look, it zoomed in perfectly. The white and red right there is still twist ties. It's even the ones with paper on them, which was easier for the low temp to stick to because of the fact the ones that are just wire, even twist ties, are harder. You can get some of the ones with red wire on them as at a grocery store or whatnot. I never bought them myself, honestly. I just get them from I've always just had a handful of them. Just grab them when I was there. I haven't used them in a very long time, but yes, I have had just grab a handful and just use them for that. But you can use them for the hand grips. This one was actually just pure plastic and super glue, and that one was pure plastic and super glue as well, and that one had twist ties in it. We had another one, but it formed out to be almost like just a ball. It can't even form the hands. Rarely useless, not even a reason to show it off or use it. But that's just a general idea of what we use, what we don't use, and whatnot, and also what you can do with super glue, hot glue, or low temp hot glue. Some of those we used with super glue, so like I said, to form a harder rubber substance. It just all depends. Same with here. You can do almost anything with super glue. This entirely was made out of hot glue. Right there, as you can see, super glue. Meant to mention that's something we use. Loctite super glue. I just always prefer to use that one because of the bottle it comes in. Easy to squeeze. It stands up. Easy to control. It's just way better. Every time I get a squeezable bottle, it just busts right through, no matter what. The cap will either bust through, or a hole get punctured, or get left somewhere. This one is always sitting somewhere. There's actually still super glue in this. We use this for this art piece right here as a reference to 300, as in this is Sparta, but this is sharp. But the super glue, we did not have an empty bottle, so we just went ahead and used the bottle we had. But that's what we normally use. The gel, we usually use the gel control one because in fact it's just easier to dry. You can see it better, and then you can use it with it. It mixes a little better with hot glue, but any of the super glues will work. But that's just another essential item. We do not use it as regular as we do hot glue, but super glue is a secondary for it. It's more for the finer details. I would use it for placing the diamonds sometimes, because if you put the hot glue under them, hot glue seems to take up a gap, so you couldn't put a fine item and put hot glue on it. There would now be that space between the item, the hot glue, and the item you glued it to. So sometimes super glue is the best bet, and it's an easy wipe if you use too much of it. You can always use the hot glue gun to run across it to burn it away. Just don't inhale those fumes. Very toxic. But that's it, guys. I just wanted to give a quick rundown on what we do, what tools we have, what tools we use and prefer, styles and whatnot, and just to give you guys a quick little rundown. So, you guys have a wonderful day. Stay beautiful, honesty. You guys have a good one. Lil